Hey everyone! We've just launched this channel to bring you stories that you'll enjoy. If you like what you hear, please hit subscribe. It only takes a click, but it really helps us create more content. It's amazing how a single sentence can make everything clear. For 6 years, I lived in this comfortable fog, thinking everything was going fine. But last night, at a family barbecue, my boyfriend Liam cut through that fog with one simple, cliched joke. And his whole family laughed. In that moment, surrounded by their hearty laughter at my expense, I didn't feel anger or humiliation. Instead, I felt this strange sense of calm, like finally solving a puzzle I had been staring at for years. I smiled, took a sip of my drink, and let them have their fun. That was last night. This morning, while Liam was at work, I moved out. About an hour ago, my phone rang. It was Liam, completely panicked, asking where all the furniture went. Then he called back, shouting, asking why his key wasn't working anymore. I guess he finally figured it out. The free milk, the house, the car, the TV, the Wi-Fi password, all of it was gone. The cow has officially left the building. Let me rewind a bit, because this wasn't an impulsive decision. It had been building up for a while. Liam and I got together 6 years ago. We were both just starting out. I was working as a project manager at a small tech company, and he was finishing his apprenticeship as an electrician. We made a great couple, or so I thought. We had fun together and shared the same goals. We both wanted a house, a dog, the whole package. The problem was, Liam had a ton of debt from his student loans and a pretty awful credit score from his younger, dumber days. On the other hand, I had been saving like crazy since I was 16. Plus, around the time we got serious, my grandmother passed away and left me a decent amount of money. It wasn't a fortune, but it was enough for a solid down payment on a house. So, 2 years into our relationship, we decided to buy one. When we went to the bank, the loan officer basically laughed at Liam's application. His debt-to-income ratio was a disaster. But my application was perfect. I had the down payment, a steady job, and great credit. The mortgage broker suggested we go this route. The smart move is for her to buy the house in her name only. He can live there and pay her rent, and in a few years when his credit improves, you can refinance and add him to the mortgage. It made perfect sense. A logical, practical solution. So that's exactly what we did. I bought the house. My name is on the mortgage. My name is on the deed. Liam transferred me money every month. His share, but it was always less than half of the actual mortgage and utility bills. I was the one paying everything, because all the bills were in my name. I bought the furniture, replaced the water heater when it broke, and paid the property taxes. He just lived there. He saw it as our house, but on paper, where it really matters, it was always my house. Over the years, I tried talking to him about getting his name on the deed. I'd say, "Hey, have you checked your credit score? We should think about refinancing soon." But he always had an excuse. "Oh, not yet, babe. I'm still paying off that big loan." Or "Let's wait until I get a raise. Then we'll have more leverage with the bank." It started to feel less like a reasonable delay, and more like he was just comfortable. He had all the perks of homeownership without any of the risks or responsibilities. Then came the marriage talk, or the lack of it. Everyone else was getting engaged, married, having kids, and we were stuck. Every time I brought it up, he got defensive. He'd say, "We're fine the way we are, right? It's just a piece of paper." But I knew it was more than that. I wanted commitment. I wanted to be a real team, not just have a convenient arrangement. And then last night, we were at his parents' house for his dad's 60th birthday barbecue. The whole family was there, uncles, aunts, cousins. It was the usual gathering. His uncle Jerry, who had a little too much to drink, cornered us by the grill. He clapped Liam on the back and asked, "So when are you finally going to make an honest woman out of this one? You're not getting any younger." It was awkward, but I smiled. Liam, however, puffed out his chest, grinning smugly as he looked around at his family, making sure they were all watching. Then he said it, the stupid cliched line that he probably thought made him sound like a cool alpha male. "Why would I buy the cow when I get the milk for free?" The men burst into laughter. His dad, his uncles, even his 19-year-old cousin. They were all slapping him on the back, praising him for being so clever. His mom and his aunts giggled behind their hands, looking at me with pity. They all thought it was hilarious. They were all laughing at me. The woman who owned the house, who hosted their Christmas gatherings, the one who threw the Super Bowl party on the 70-inch TV she bought. In that moment, I didn't see the man I loved. I saw a freeloader bragging about his great deal. And I saw his family, who all knew about our financial arrangement, laughing at the cow, who was funding their son's comfortable lifestyle. I didn't say anything. I just smiled, raised my glass and said, "Good one, Liam." I stayed for another hour, made small talk, and helped his mom clean up. On the drive home, he was still laughing about it. Did you see Uncle Jerry's face? Classic. I just kept driving. Once we got home, I went straight to my office and closed the door. I had a folder in my filing cabinet labeled Household Contingency Plan. I'd been putting it together for the past 6 months, ever since I started to suspect that he was never going to commit. It had the number for a moving company, a lease for an apartment I'd already put a deposit on, and a checklist of everything I needed to do. His joke wasn't a wake-up call, it was the signal to begin. So this morning, as soon as he left for work, I put my plan into action. The movers arrived at 9 a.m. They packed up my furniture, my clothes, my kitchen supplies, my TV, my computer, everything. I'd already forwarded my mail, transferred utilities to my new place, and set cancellation dates for the old ones. I called the locksmith and had him meet me at the house at 1 p.m. He changed every lock. The last thing I did before I left was snap a picture of the empty living room. I sent Liam a quick text. "The cow's gone. Time to find another source for your free milk. P.S. The locks are changed. Don't bother coming back." Now my phone won't stop ringing. I think it's finally hitting him. He has no home, no couch, and the cow he thought he possessed? She's the one who owns everything. First update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the messages and comments. It's been a whirlwind. I'm currently sprawled on an inflatable mattress in my new apartment, eating takeout straight from the carton, and honestly, it's the most peaceful I've felt in years. Sure, the place is still mostly stacked boxes, but it's mine. The quiet is blissful. No blaring sports games I couldn't care less about. No trail of dirty socks leading to the laundry room. No feeling of waiting for someone else's life to start before mine can. Just silence. As for my phone, after Liam's frantic calls when his key didn't work, things went completely off the rails. He started firing off long, rambling texts. Here's the condensed version. First came confusion. Okay, not funny anymore. Where's our stuff? Did we get robbed? Then anger after my text. Our stuff? It's my stuff. You can't just take it all. Half of it's mine. I paid for it. Spoiler, he didn't. Then the threats. I'm calling the cops. You can't just lock me out of my house. This is illegal. And finally, late last night, the desperate pleading. Claire, please call me. Where am I supposed to sleep? My clothes, my work gear. It's all in there. I'm sorry about the joke. It was stupid. I didn't answer a single one. Just blocked his number. Right on cue, his mom started calling. We'll call her Brenda. Her first voicemail was sweet and concerned. Clara dear, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Liam's very upset. I'm sure we can work this out if you just come talk to him. An hour later, the sweetness vanished. Clara, this has gone far enough. You must let Liam in to get his belongings. You're legally obligated. My husband says this is basically theft. Funny how suddenly they're all legal experts. What they didn't know was that I'd been preparing for months. This wasn't some spur-of-the-moment outburst. His by the cow joke was simply the last push to pull a trigger I'd been readying for half a year. 6 months ago, after yet another excuse about why he wasn't ready for marriage, I consulted a lawyer. I explained everything. I bought the house with my own money. The mortgage and deed are in my name only. He paid me a fixed amount each month, way below market rent and not even covering half the bills. The lawyer was clear. Legally, he was nothing more than a long-term guest. No lease, no equity, no rights to the property. She advised that if I ever wanted him out, I should give him a formal written notice to vacate, just like I would a tenant. So after blocking his number, I set up a brand new email address and sent him one. Subject line. Notice to vacate property at 123 Maple Street. It was short and professional, Liam, your status as a guest at my property is terminated, effective immediately. Remove all personal belongings within 30 days. Arrange the removal through this email only. Any other attempt to enter will be trespassing. A final utilities bill will be sent to your parents' address. I photographed every room after the movers left, exactly as my lawyer suggested. I'd booked those movers a month earlier with a flexible date. They had my entire life packed and into my new place in under 5 hours, even assembling my bed frame. Liam likes to think he paid for half the furniture. In reality, he'd toss in a token amount, like $200 toward a $2,000 couch, and call it his. I have receipts for every single purchase. The only things left at the old house now are his clothes, toothbrush, and a sad little pile of video games. Today, the drama continued. His dad, Michael, called using his deep, "I'm a businessman" voice. He said I was being childish, that they wanted a face-to-face to resolve this like adults. And if I refused, they'd explore all legal options. I nearly laughed. Sue me for evicting a guest from my own house? Good luck. But a meeting sounded perfect. I wanted to see their faces when they realized how badly they'd underestimated the cow. I emailed back, "Michael, a meeting works. Tomorrow 4 p.m., coffee shop on Oak and Main. I'll bring my paperwork. I suggest you bring yours. Ball's in their court now. Let's see their play." Second update. The meeting was yesterday. I arrived 20 minutes early, grabbed a corner table, ordered an iced tea, and took out my secret weapon. Not a lawyer, but a plain white 1-inch binder. My holy grail. 6 months of careful organization, every document tabbed and labeled. I'm a project manager. Organizing is my job. I wasn't nervous. This wasn't emotional anymore. It was a project debrief. They arrived right on time. Liam, Brenda, and Michael, looking like a storm cloud. Liam's eyes were red and swollen. Brenda was on the verge of tears, and Michael wore his CEO scowl. They sat down, and before I could greet them, Michael launched in. "Clara, we need to find a way forward. You can't just kick someone out after 6 years. There are legal consequences." Brenda jumped in, voice shaking. "We thought you were family. How could you be so cruel? He's on our couch with nowhere to go." Liam finally looked up from the table. "You stole my stuff. All our furniture." I let them speak, then took a slow sip of my iced tea and rested my hand on the binder. "Okay," I said cheerfully, "I'm glad you're here and raising these points. I've got some information that should clear things up." I opened the binder, neat tabs color-coded. "Let's go through this together, shall we?" First tab, ownership. I slid copies of the deed and mortgage across the table. As you can see, every ownership document has one name, mine. I'm the only legal owner of the property at 123 Maple Street. Michael glanced at the papers and brushed them aside. "That's just a formality in the financing," he said dismissively. I replied, cutting him off. "All right, let's move on to tab 2. We'll call this one the down payment." I slid out a bank statement from 4 years ago, showing a wire transfer straight from my inheritance account to the escrow company, covering the full down payment. My money. Not shared money, mine alone. Liam opened his mouth to speak, but I wasn't slowing down. "Which brings us to my personal favorite," I said. Tab 3. The monthly contribution. I placed a spreadsheet I'd created on the table. It was a masterpiece. Every month from the past 4 years neatly lined up in columns. "So Liam," I began, staring him in the eye, "you've claimed you paid for half of everything. Let's check the math." I pointed to the first column. "This is what you sent me each month, very consistent." Then to the second. "This is the actual total for the mortgage, property taxes, home insurance, plus utilities, gas, electric, water, internet for those same months." My finger tapped the third column. "This shows the difference, how much more I paid than you, every single month." I gave them a moment. I watched their eyes follow the numbers. Michael's jaw tightened. "On average," I continued, "your portion covered about 35% of the core costs of keeping this place running. And that's before we even count repairs, like the water heater I bought last year, or furniture." I leaned back slightly. "So you weren't my partner building equity. You were my tenant, and frankly, you were getting a bargain." Brenda's face went pale. Liam's turned blotchy red as he stared at the sheet. And finally, I said, flipping to the last tab labeled legal. This summarizes the advice I got from an attorney 6 months ago. It confirms that a long-term guest with no lease can be asked to leave with 30 days written notice, which, as you know, I've already emailed you. I closed the binder with a sharp snap and settled into my chair. Any questions about the house? Silence. Liam shook his head, muttering, I can't believe this. I looked at him sweetly. You know, Liam, this all circles back to that little joke you made. The one you were so proud of, about not buying the cow when you get the milk for free. He flinched. His parents looked puzzled. You thought you were clever, I said. But what you never realized was that the cow owned the whole farm. The barn you slept in, the pasture you lounged in, all of it. And you weren't getting free milk. I was giving you a family discount because I thought we were partners. I thought we were building something. But at that barbecue, you and your family made it clear I was just some convenient appliance, a cow. So the discount's over. The farm is shut down. You're no longer welcome here. That's when he exploded. This is insane. You planned this. You've been plotting against me. No, Liam, I said, standing and gathering my things. I wasn't plotting. I was preparing. That's what responsible adults do when they actually own something. Instead of living off their girlfriend. You've got 29 days to collect your belongings. Coordinate through the email I gave you. I glanced at Brenda and Michael. Thanks for the meeting. Very productive. I walked out without looking back, hearing them start to argue before I even reached the door. I got in my car, feeling neither angry nor sad, just light. The project was done. The evidence was presented, the case closed. Final update. It's been 8 months since that coffee shop meeting, and I'm happy to say the drama's over. The dust has settled, and life is much better. The month after that meeting was tense. Liam did email to arrange picking up his stuff. I wasn't about to be there alone, so my best friend Sarah came over. We put on music, ordered pizza, and waited. Liam arrived with his dad. No moving truck. Just Michael's pickup, which honestly made me laugh. Both were quiet and sulking. Liam went room to room, tossing clothes and video games into boxes. The only flare-up was when he tried to grab the expensive espresso machine. I cleared my throat. That stays. He spun around. What? I use it every day. I bought it. I had my phone ready. I pulled up the Amazon receipt from 2 years ago, my credit card. Really? Because this says I bought it. You can take the cheap drip coffee maker from the pantry. I think you pitched in $20 for that one. Michael shot him a warning look. Liam slammed the machine back down and stormed off. Small and petty? Sure. Satisfying? Absolutely. They left without another word. A week later, a letter from a law firm showed up, claiming Liam was entitled to part of the property's value because of his financial contributions and emotional investment. My heart jumped for a second. Then I remembered my lawyer. I forwarded it to her. She called an hour later, laughing, saying it had no legal basis. Her response was so sharp I never heard from them again. Best money I've ever spent. When his 30 days were up, I called a realtor. The house sold in under a week for more than I expected. The market was wild. After paying off the mortgage and fees, I walked away with a huge profit. Seeing that number hit my account felt like freedom itself. The worth of the farm the cow had built alone. For the first month, I did nothing. Slept in, read, walked, enjoyed the peace. Then I booked a trip, 3 weeks in Italy, something I'd always dreamed of but couldn't afford while financing our future. Pasta, gelato. I swear my blood turned to marinara. Now I'm back in a nice rental, investing the sale proceeds and letting them grow. For the first time, my life feels like an open road instead of a path to someone else's goal. As for Liam, word is he's still in his parents' basement, bitter, telling people I'm a manipulative thief. A few believe him, most know the truth. The same family that laughed at his free milk joke now gets to support a 30-year-old freeloader whining about their milk not being fancy enough. Seems fitting. Lately, I've thought about that joke. Why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? It's outdated and gross, but in a way he was right to ask. He just had it backward. The real question isn't why buy the cow. It's why would the cow give her milk away for free when she owns the farm and could be making gourmet cheese? I'm done giving away free milk. From here on, I'm tending my own pasture. And let me tell you, the view is incredible.